Hey!
This is Justin and Maria, and today we are doing a husband and wife tag. We've been asked quite a few times to do that, so let's see how well we know each other. We actually have not practiced, and I've kind of looked at the questions. It's gonna be his first time. Let's get to it.
Well, that's not fair.
So the first question, how and where did we meet?
Blue Martini.
It's a bar.
It's in Tampa, Florida. And I saw her and I said, jumped out in front of her and I said, "You're very beautiful and I would like to take you out sometime."
Great pickup line, guys.
And then I handed her my phone so she put her phone number in there.
Yes, I did. And I was on my way to the restroom, so I had like 5 seconds to do anything. I looked him up and down. I thought he was cute and I gave him my number.
Smooth.
What was your first impression? I'll answer first. I thought he was up to no good. So if you guys don't know,
I was.
we are 9 years apart, and when I met him, I mean, he looks so much younger. Like, I had no idea. I thought he was in like late 20s. I was 24, and I thought he was in late 20s. He is not what I'm looking for in this part of my life, and he's just, you know, out there to mess around with the girls. So that was my very first impression of him, and it was absolutely wrong.
That is correct. Absolutely wrong.
First of all, he wasn't in his late 20s. And second, he's like the most thoughtful guy ever. And by like second date, I already figured it out. All right, your first impression.
Oh, my first impression of you.
I was so sweet, he just like is lavish
yeah,
on
it
it.
was just, yeah. It's like, pour some more sugar in my ear.
Yeah.
My first impression of Maria was she was Latin. It was very loud, and she had long, dark hair, and she had a nice figure. And then when I called her and spoke to her, I heard this, "Hello," and I'm like...
Yeah, my accent was way thicker back then.
I'm like, "Maria? Yes, this is Maria."
Oh, I have to tell this. He would talk to me about theaters and art exhibitions on this first call, and I was like, who is this guy? Because, you know, I didn't expect... Yeah, it was very refreshing, because most of the guys, and I don't want to sound stereotypical, but Americans aren't really familiar with like cultural things like that. So it was like, oh wow, how and where was our first date? All right, you can start it and I'll add some gravy on top of it.
So, it's one of my favorite stories. So I said, "Hey, I want to take you out for a surprise." And she's like, "I don't like surprises." And
that's his version of my accent.
And so I was like, "Look, come meet me at my house and then we'll drive there." And she's like, "No, I'm going to take my own car and I'll meet you there."
He could have been a creeper, who knows?
And
I was very safe.
Yeah, it was going to ruin my surprise. And so we agreed that she would follow me. And so she followed me to Tampa, where we went to was the Improv, is a comedy club. And so as we're walking up there, she goes, "Where are we going?" And I said, "We're going to the Improv."
It wasn't that bad.
And she goes, "What is this Improv?" And I said, "Oh, it's a comedy club." And she says, "I am not sure I'll get off the jokes." True story.
So I have to add a few things on top of this. So the reason why Justin took me to Improv, because he wanted to save up on the first date.
I want to make sure she wasn't a gold digger.
Yes, so he, the reason he did it because it was right, like odd time, it wasn't like...
8 o'clock.
Yeah,
so
it wasn't dinner time.
Yeah, it wasn't dinner time.
And then I ordered 2 desserts. He was like, "What is she doing?" I was like, "I can't decide between tiramisu and carrot cake." I did not do it on purpose. I just couldn't decide, really. And I did not get all the jokes.
So there's one joke, and this lady goes, "You know you're getting old when you get a gray hair on your woohoo." And she goes, "What is this woohoo?" And I'm like, you know, danger zone.
I will. Oh, this is good too. You guys, I don't know why it's going to be all full of funny stories. Maybe it was just so funny for us. Where was our first kiss and how was it? So I'll tell you that one. So we were at the beach bar and Justin is like, I think it was, what is it, like number 3, third date or something. Mm-hmm. And he's like, "Oh, let's go on a walk." Why would the guy take you on a walk with the moon shining and it's like all romantic, and also we're sitting there on the beach and he's like talking about the stars. I'm like, I know what he's up to. I was like, "You can kiss me now." He's like, "Oh, I know." And he's a really good kisser.
Messing up my mojo. Just telling about some constellations up there. And
I was like, situations. I know why you brought me here. Oh, next one is going to be good too, guys. Well, I feel like we need to film like things about Russians and Americans that are different, because every single interaction that we had in the very beginning was funny. So this one is, when did you meet my family?
Oh boy. So we dated a couple times, and then so
It's like about 2 months into a relationship, I think you met my mom.
yeah, she takes me over to meet her mom, and so we go to their apartment, and so we sit down at the table, and they said, "Do you want anything to drink?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll have some tea." And so she makes me hot tea, and this apartment is already hot.
Yeah, they don't like to use AC. It's like really hot even now.
Yeah, and they like it hot. And so it's already like 80 degrees in this apartment. So I'm in there and I'm like, whew, it's a little warm in here. So she makes me some hot tea. And they're asking me these questions. There's this big lamp over the table, and I feel like the lamp's shining down on me. And they're like, "So where are you from? What do you do? How much money do you make?"
They didn't ask how much money you make. Nobody cared.
But they're asking me all these questions. And I'm drinking this hot tea, and I'm sweating. And then I look over at her mom, and I see sweat beads on her upper lip. And then I'm thinking, they know it's hot in here. They know what they're doing. What's going on?
Well, when I met Justin's family, it was much nicer. I came for Christmas. Was it Christmas? Yeah, and I almost did not come because Justin screwed up the night before. But then, like in the middle of the night, I called him and we talked, and we figured it out. So I came and I met his mom first. And his mom is this amazing woman. She paints, plays piano, like so artistic. Then I met his entire family it was, there's how many of you? Like 30 people. For Christmas Eve, I met his sister. Everybody was so nice, so welcoming. So honestly, I don't have like a funky story for that one. It was just, how did you know I was the one? Well, I'm gonna answer that first. So I really didn't know hard to say. So when I was following Justin for this first date in my car, I see him in front, and I think he had his music on, loudly jamming, and I see him like dancing and and I was like, I had this like very warm feeling in my chest, and I really didn't know much about the guy. I mean, I still think he might be a creeper and stuff, but like I had.
Wait, you're not still?
At that moment when I was still
okay.
watching, not right now. Though sometimes I might think that. But so I was watching him, and I had this warm feeling. I was like, oh, well, this guy will mean something in my life. I can't say it was like the one or not. And then I figured out he's the one. When I married him, I'm like, we're in it forever.
And so for me, we're driving down the road, and I'm like, hey, where do you see this relationship going? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like...
That was like 2 months into relationship.
And I'm like, well, look, at this point, you should know if you can see this going somewhere or not. And she's like, no, I don't know. And I'm just like, come on, give it, like when you meet someone, if this has any potential or not. And she's like, well, we'll see where it goes. So at that point, I knew that I wanted to be with her.
I think he knew that I'm the one when I got stuck in Russia and couldn't come back. Because when I came back, went to California, he proposed to me immediately. So this one is a serious one, but we'll probably make fun of it too. How do you resolve problems? We talk. I think that's why our relationship is successful. We really don't harbor like hard feelings. I feel like we always talk them through. And sometimes I still do it. I used to do it much more, that I close up if I get hurt. And it's like I stop talking, and he kind of has to pull it out of me. So, but Justin is like amazing how he can talk to me. I think nobody else in this world can talk to me like he can. And I think having an open communication is how we resolve most issues.
Yeah, a lot of times if you hear language that is like you always or never, we both do a really good job of like stopping and saying, hey, what's really wrong? Because there is no always or never to anything. So as soon as we hear something like that, before it escalates, we'll stop and we'll say, hey, what's wrong?
Yeah.
What's really bothering you right now? And it keeps it from escalating, and it helps us really get our feelings out without feeling hurt when you're explaining your hurt. So.
Yeah, and another thing is that I think we genuinely appreciate each other for what we're doing and tell each other why we're thankful for it. And I feel so lucky. I think he's a great guy, and I'm so lucky to have him. All right, guys, we gotta get you something that not is so soapy. You're probably like, blah, at us. What weird habits of each other? I can, you can start.
She never tightens the lid on anything. And I picked the lid up by almost everything, like in like jars on the floor, like in the cabinet, like the coconut oil. Like I'll go and grab it by the lid, and the lid just comes right off. And there's been so many times, like I grabbed the coffee out of the cupboard, and I pulled it out, and it's got a lid on top, right? Well, this one, the lid goes flying off, and I was so lucky that I didn't, throw coffee everywhere. So I have to be so careful when I grab stuff. I have to grab it thinking, the lid is not tight on the tomato sauce.
Also, Justin has a few weird things he does that don't bug me as much because honestly, I'm not bugged by a lot of things. But, so he loves efficiency. So everything that he does, he thinks it through and has multi-step process to everything. And my brain just doesn't work this way. But again, like it doesn't really bug me. Another thing he's really funny about is his diet. He never just eats. He's always either fasting to lose weight, eating protein shakes to gain weight, taking supplements of this kind to help his joints, then to heal, then he decreases the inflammation. I mean, like he's like walking encyclopedia of all stuff. And the amount of pills he has, like a supplement, is like insane. He actually got much better. He used to have like a full drawer, I swear. And then he would go through this craze, and then and then he would stop with the craze, but they would still be hanging on, so that he would finish them, and then once he would be done, he would go through a different one and buy other supplements, and it's like, it's never ending. Next question. What do we argue about the most? I don't feel like we have many arguments. We more like have discussions about stuff, and I think the main one that we have, honestly, is budgeting and money. Just because we do have the goals, and it's not like an argument. Oh, you know what? My YouTube channel. Because Justin always, that's probably the only one that we have
get
like
passionate about.
Yeah, we get like a little bit argumentative, and I have a hard time sometimes to accepting ideas right at the start, so I have like this rebuttal. But then like when I simmer in it for a while, and I'm working on myself to improve that, but like I need to simmer an idea before I can take it on, and we argue the most about that. Like Justin will give me an idea, and I feel like I shut it down on him, and I don't do it intentionally. Like I'm more like, it's just my natural reaction is to rebuttal first, and then when he gives me all the arguments why it's a great idea, then I'm simmering in it like for a day or two, and I'm like, okay, I'll do it. So I guess this is probably the worst thing.
Or a year or two, because you were like,
what food do I not like?
Oh, I have to answer on your behalf?
Yeah.
Oh, this is tough. What food do you... Chinese food, which I love.
I don't like Chinese food. It's just so greasy and sweet and saucy. What
Greasy,
food does...
sweet, and saucy, what's not to love?
Justin does not like mushy apples.
Yeah.
And the last question for today, guys. Who was the one to say I love you first, and where was it?
Wait, this is the last question?
Yeah.
What about who wears the pants in the relationship?
Justin really wants this question, so I'm going to ask that. Who wears the pants in our family?
Who do you think wears it?
Well, you obviously are in trousers and I'm in a dress.
So Maria wears the pants in the family, and this is why.
He gave me that opportunity.
Maria is very thoughtful in the things that she does, and I'll put boundaries like, hey, we can spend all this money, but only this money, we can't go beyond that, but you can spend it on whatever you want. And she really is thoughtful in like what we're gonna do as a family for our kids, and it's always worked out, and it's always been in my benefit. And sometimes where I think, sometimes I think too much maybe, she'll just say, let's go do it. And I've followed her lead, and life has turned out wonderfully. And so I continue to do that.
Yeah, Justin just says, we don't argue because I do everything you tell me to do.
It's true, I do.
And last one, who said, I love you first, and where did it happen? I remember, we'll see if he does.
So I remember I was trying to figure out how to say it in Russian. Yeah, lublю тебя. Did that come out right?
It came out right, but he came back from Australia. He went on Valentine's Day. It was our first Valentine's Day. He took me out before, and he went to see his friend in Australia, which was fine. He planned this trip before we even, were serious. And I was picking him up from the airport, and he said that he loves me, and he said it first, and I said it back to him. And that was our first time. That was what, about 6 months into a relationship. I take a long time for everything, guys, except planning the wedding. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you have any other questions you'd like to ask us, feel free to do so. And please make sure to subscribe to my channel. It's focused on modern day parenting, inspired by Montessori, healthy lifestyle, and home decor and all that good stuff. So I hope to see you soon.
Hey, and if you want us to do more, that was fun. We should just do this.
Just for us.
Yeah, just for us. I enjoyed it.
Bye.